Okay, folks, we will call this meeting of the Bridgeton City Council to order. If you would all please rise and join us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you all very much. The clerk will now call the roll.
Councilmember Patel.
Here.
Councilmember Zimmer.
Here.
Councilmember Grimmer.
Here.
Councilmember Patel. Here. Councilmember Hines.
Here.
Councilmember Weeks. Here. Councilmember Morris. Here. Councilmember Hood.
Here.
Great to have all 8 council members present. We have quite a full agenda, and that's the next item on tonight, is the agenda approval.
So moved. Second.
Motion's made by Councilmember Patel, seconded by Councilmember Hines for the approval of tonight's agenda. Are there further comments, questions, additions, subtractions? Seeing none, those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstaining? That motion carries. We are down to public comments. So we have several public hearings tonight, and those public comments come at the public hearing. But we have one card here from Jeff Pernikoff. Jeff, you want to come forward? Yours isn't one of the public hearing issues. We have your name and address, so we're good. Might want to pull it up a little bit. Okay. Make sure you're on here, because yeah, it's a little soft.
You can pick it up if you want.
Yeah, just take it out of there and hold it up close to your mouth.
Well, first off, I'm the owner of property at 1238 St. Charlotte Road. It's still 6344, and we're here for rezoning properties. And we just wanted to make myself available for any further questions from the council. I'll be able to have the answer at this time. I'm going to show everyone that we do a incredible quality development. I did one 10 years ago at the medical office building, the adjacent property, and we're looking forward to continuing our relationship with the city of Bridgeton.
Very good. Council have any questions that they'd like to ask? Otherwise, we will go on. Thank you, sir. Councilmember Grimmer, make it quick.
Yes, Jeff, are we going to have both entrances? You had to have easements for both entrances to that property. There will be 2 access entrances.
That's not really a question on the rezoning.
Nope.
This is a rezoning question, and the issue is whether or not you add this to the current zoning.
You are correct.
That's more on design and review.
You are correct.
Thank you, Jeff. All right. We have no other cards tonight, so we will move on to the approval of the minutes of November 16th and the special meeting and the regular meeting of November 16th. Is there a motion?
To approve both.
If you'd like to do them both at one time.
I'll second.
Motion's made by Councilmember Hood, seconded by Councilmember Patel for the approval of both the minutes of the City Council budget meeting of November 16th and of the regular meeting of November 16th. Questions, comments? Councilmember Patel.
Yes. First of all, I wasn't the one that seconded that.
Oh, I'm sorry.
But I don't know who did, though.
Councilmember Grimmer.
But on number 3 of the one that we were talking about, I guess, on our budget meeting, talked about $50,000 for the iPads and stuff like that. I don't recall having a number, but I did ask that we get some numbers so we could discuss this at our next meeting, or our second meeting on budget. Do you have any numbers or anything prepared for us tonight so that we can prepare that?
We can bring that up at the budget hearing. We may have the numbers that we got a budget hearing tonight.
Okay, I'm just bringing it up here that we subtracted it from with our second, so I'm just curious if it does. That's all. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you. Further comments or questions? Seeing none, those in favor of the minutes of both sets of meetings signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstaining? Motion carries. We are down then to item G tonight, appointments, presentations, proclamations. So first up tonight, we have a new police officer that we'd like to introduce to the residents of the city of Bridgeton. Chief, would you like to do the honor?
evening, Mayor and council members. Thank you for giving me this opportunity to introduce another police officer. With me tonight is Michael Courtcamp. He has several years of police experience. He started with us on the 16th of this month, and he's in a regular uniform because they couldn't get him outfitted in time.
Didn't have a big enough shirt?
Yeah, I don't know if you know, Leon's they got to run it out down here.
Oh, Brentwood?
Brentwood, so their supplies are kind of down. So anyway, I just wanted to introduce Mike to you. He comes to us, he's a 2010 recipient of the Medal of Valor Award here in St. Louis County. He was also an Officer of the Month for 2022. He's married to his wife, Angie. He has one daughter and a son, and he resides in St. Peter's. And I introduce Michael Courtcamp, our newest member of our family.
Michael, we're glad to have you with us. Do you have anything you'd like to say?
I can't think of anything.
Well, welcome aboard.
Thank you.
Thank you. Another presentation, Chief?
Yes, one other thing. I know the council had asked if Officer Tom Klein could come up, had asked about the new police uniforms that we've transitioned to. So this is the new police patrol uniform. Tom was one of the officers that actually tested this uniform. A number of municipalities in St. Louis County have transitioned to this. So one of the things I just wanted to note to the council, and I did write a letter in the banner to kind of explain a little bit more about the uniform, but one of the things is all the equipment that he's wearing on this uniform is what we carry on our belt. So the idea with this is an outer vest carrier that allows them to transition some of that weight off from their hips to their lower back and move it up onto the vest itself, which transitions it to their shoulders. So there's been a lot of studies done at different universities, and their reports were coming out that there's a tremendous difference in the amount of weight the lower back injuries long term. So we transitioned to this. This uniform was funded 100% with forfeiture money. So the city of Bridgeton didn't have to budget or pay out of our budget for the transition. It was paid out of asset forfeiture money. But if anybody had any questions about it, this is the new uniform that you'll see in our officers in the street. They still have a formal uniform with the jacket, formal affairs, court appearance. We have the traditional light blue with the tie. They'll still have that if they go to court appearances on. But this is the new one, and I'll gladly take any questions.
Questions from council. Councilmember Still.
Yes, thank you, Mayor. Two things. It looks like instantly there's less on the waist, so it should be a lot easier to get in and out of a car, you know, when you're trying to seatbelt and steering wheel, all those kind of things. That looks really positive. I know a lot of our officers have to actually work along the street. Is there reflective gear that they put on their shoulders or something like that when they do get out? I don't see that on this uniform. Or can you address that?
We have the bright yellow ENC, what they call ENC level 3, that's certified to be out on the highways and interstates and roadways. And by policy, they put those on. Also, one of the things, if you look at the back, it does say Bridgeton Police on it. This is reflective.
Okay.
We didn't have. So if they get out at night, that does reflect the name tag for the front, but mainly in the back, so you can kind of see that is part of it.
Looks nice. Thank you.
Councilmember Liz. Oh,
Yes, no, thank you. I just had the same question about the reflectivity, like if there were a foot chase or something, what designates an officer from a criminal dressed in dark clothes?
Yeah, that's it.
Councilmember Hine.
Thank you. And it's a bulletproof vest?
Yeah, so we didn't have to replace the vest that they currently have. All it did was take it from the inside and put it into this outer carrier on the outside. One of the other things is now that we've implemented body cameras onto the officers, and as you can see, the camera's right in here. So before what we were doing is we had to modify all the uniform shirts and have the hole to put in them. So this way, they only have, what is it, two of these outer vests. So we're not having to do as much modification of the uniforms with the implementation of the camera system.
I noticed the clips on the front. Is there any negative impact if a bullet hits one of those? Would it cause any of them to fire?
No, it would cause them to discharge in the magazine itself, and actually,
He tested it out.
magazines have been struck by around no negative effect.
Okay.
It's like another layer.
Thank you.
What value he brings to our department, and I apologize for not.
No, that's fine. You kind of know Tom.
Yeah, he did a really good job at evaluating this uniform for, different tactics and stuff like that too.
Councilmember Norris has a question.
Yeah, one of the nice things, you can unzip that if you make a report and take the vest off if you're like in the
So
office.
I did fail to mention that. So that's one of the nice things about it too, is a lot of times the officers come in and write reports in the station. So if this quickly, how the vest comes off, they can set it on a chair and kind of relax a little bit and take the weight off them and just put it right back on quickly. It snaps together as they're out in the field. So thank you for that.
And just one more, and if you have something to, does that hammer go on immediately? Is that thing on? Do you have to hit it?
So there's a couple different activations that's connected to the cars. When the door opens, if the lights are on, it activates. If they run,
Okay.
it activates. And then we have the calls where they go to certain calls, we can activate it when they get within proximity of that call.
Thank you.
Very good. Further comments and questions from council?
Thank you.
Tom. Thank you, Chief. We appreciate it. I think one of our police commissioners, you have something you want to present?
We have also Commissioner Jim Hartog and Commissioner Nancy Lopez.
They're both over here on your right.
You had something to present to myself. Oh, thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much.
So I think they were giving him an ornament, is that correct, for the tree? Police ornament for the Christmas tree.
Thank you.
Very good, thank you. All right, so it gives me a great deal of pleasure. We have two proclamations tonight, and it all focuses around our animal control officer that we share with the city of Maryland Heights, Joel Armstead. Joel, you want to come up? So this is a proclamation, which technically we don't have to have the council approve it, but usually I ask you to do it. So let me read through it a minute here. So we have Joel Armstead has been employed by the cities of Bridgeton and Maryland Heights since 2018 as our Animal Control Officer, or ACO. During his time of employment, Mr. Armstead has demonstrated a great deal of compassion and professionalism in carrying out his duties. Joel often goes above and beyond the official animal control officer duties in the care of animals he finds in the two cities, going to extraordinary efforts to find them a home. You know, it's not like taking them to the pound. Joel tries to find a house where they can go and have a permanent house. Mr. Armstead demonstrated this compassion and caring recently when he was called to collect a dog that was abandoned in the city. Unfortunately, we have some people in our society that don't care a whole lot about the animals, and they just left the little dog, it's right down here, in a crate by a dumpster, wasn't it, Joel? Upon seeing the dog in its condition, Joel took the animal back, cleaned it up, and then took care of it for a while. But then he noticed the next day it was bleeding and sick. Without hesitation, Joel used his extensive contacts in the community to find a veterinarian who volunteered her time and equipment to perform surgery on the animal, and a volunteer, Nancy Lupia, who you met earlier on the police commission, who helped nurse the dog back to health. Nancy's right below us here. Mr. Armstead has earned the respect and admiration of the cities of both Maryland Heights and Bridgeton for the job he has performed. Now, therefore, I, Terry Briggs, Mayor of the City of Bridgeton, wish to commend and thank Joel Longstead for his devotion to the job and the care and treatment of all animals in both cities as well as in the county. Joel's done a great job for us, folks. And I think you can demonstrate that by looking at the dog right there, who obviously likes Joel quite a bit. Joel, congratulations. We have a plaque for you.
Animal control is kind of a very glamorous career. We usually get the short end of the stick when it comes to different things. You definitely have to have heart to do this job. Some days are great, some days not so great. One thing that does make a difference is having a community of support. And I can definitely say, for the first time in my animal control career, here in Bridgeton, I do have that community. And I thank you all very much.
Mrs. Lapia, what is the dog's name?
John LaPia.
Her name is Jolie.
Jolie.
Joelle, named after her face.
Thank you, Joel. All right.
We'll just let you all handle the
So this is the second resolution. Dr. Janet Chipperfield is the practice of veterinary medicine in Bridgeton and Maryland High Community. Their office is located over on Ward 10. She was a doctor of veterinary medicine from the University of Missouri for 11 years. In 2004, after she had spent many years in the Humane Society of Missouri and other experienced chaplains caring and treating animals. Dr. Chip, as she likes to be called, has and continues to exhibit a tremendous amount of compassion and care for animals throughout both cities. Nowhere was that compassion and concern for animals more exemplified by the incident we just talked about. Dr. Chip took the dog in and performed surgery to take care of it without any hesitation whatsoever. You know, this was a pretty expensive procedure. There was no guarantee she would pay, but she never hesitated whatsoever. She is a prime example of a veterinarian who really preaches or walks the walk and the talk, as they say. So we had proclamation she couldn't join us tonight. We would make sure that she gets this and present it to her because she's going to find out a lot of people here in Bridgeton, as well as Maryland High, take their animals over to Dr. Chip. For her to take this on, because it was a strangling looking dog, it was not gold or anything. Yeah, and she was out of her way. I'm good with distress, had to be had something done right away, and she went ahead and did it. For that, I'd like to recognize her with a proclamation. So we thank Dr. Chipperfield for her devotion and care for animals throughout the year.
You get to vote on these?
We can vote on it. So we'll take up the first proclamation on Joel. Those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carries. Now the proclamation for Dr. Chipperfield. Is there a motion? Motion. Motion's made and seconded. Those in favor of it signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Very well. Thank you all very much. And thank Joel. I know they're leaving, but we appreciate all the work that they've done. I had two lights. These are related to these proclamations. All right, Councilmember Norris.
No, I said what I was just wanting to
Oh,
tell
okay.
Mrs. Lapia about the name.
Councilmember Chattel.
Yes, I know Joel stepped out of the room already, but he came to my house this past month, kind of as a surprise. He helped us because we had to put down two of our pets. You know, Rashawn's 18 years old, and the daughter being 16. Recommended take them to Humane Society to euthanize them correctly. Anyway, we got back home. My wife called me and said, "You want the Oxford dog food?" He came over, was there for about an hour. He even stopped by one of the other departments here and brought a sympathy car for my wife. I just want to thank them and whoever it was at the city that that made it a little more easy to get along for my wife, Debbie. And thank you very much.
Very good. Thank you, Joel. Like I said, it's an outstanding employee of the city. For next order of business, there are several public hearings. So we will adjourn the council meeting into the public hearings. The first of which is public hearings of the city of Bridgeton regarding the proposed 2023 budget. And I believe, Mr. Bookhouse, you're going to handle this.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Mayor. Before I get started, I wanted to thank those that were involved in this proposed budget. First, I want to thank department heads and Christine for all their hard work in putting this together, and also thank the mayor and council for their efforts in their review and recommendations on this proposed budget before you tonight. The proposed budget for fiscal year 2023 is $27,970,792. The general fund accounts for $19 million of that $27 million. With the Midwest Consumer Price Index currently over 8% proposed 2023 expenditures, includes 5% COLA for employees. Also included is $387,825 for the maintenance logger plan, which is the newer pension plan for the employee. And it also includes $1,019,000 for the regular city pension plan, which did incorporate recommended plan changes proposed in the experience study prepared by Buck, which is our actuarial consultant. At the end of 2023, the unreserved fund balance will be $7.4 million, or 42%, or 42.8% of the general fund operating budget. This budget reflects a reduction in full-time staff from 128 full-time employees to 124 full-time employees, and that was a result of the outsourcing of the emergency dispatch services. The proposed capital outlay for 2023 is $1,367,567, and this includes city service vehicles and equipment for city hall, police, public works, and the park department. This also includes some certificates of participation bond refinancing that we did in 2021. Those were for the construction of City Hall, City Garage, and the Recreation Center. And that refinancing that we undertook in the spring of 2021 will result in a savings of approximately $2 million for the remaining life of those bonds. And this also includes that refinancing, the special obligation on the fully funded debt, the underfunded pension liability, which was approximately $13 million. And as we mentioned before, over the course of that bond, it's going to save the city somewhere between $10 million and $24 million. I did want to note that there are some issues related to next year that we're unsure of in terms of the economy. And like we always do, we were very conservative in our revenue projections as we formulated our expenditure budget for 2023. With that, I'll entertain any questions today.
Very good. Questions or comments from council? Councilmember Sattel.
Yes, you heard my question earlier when we were talking about minutes. Do you have anything prepared for the iPad stuff that we discussed at our budget meeting?
Yeah, so we did talk about that with staff. When we looked at that a couple of years ago, and that is if the council wants to look at one of the software packages, one of those being WordDoc. There's a couple others that we can look at. I think WordDoc is the one that I've seen that's probably used more. I know the Pattonville School Board uses WordDoc. With that and the devices for the council, I mean, I think if we set aside $25,000, we would be perfect with that. I don't think 50 is necessary.
Okay. So we'll make that amendment at the next meeting, correct? Okay. Can we get something in writing to that fact so that we know that we're actually proposing and possibly which fund we're supposed to take that out of. Thank you.
Very good. Councilmember Norris.
Is that one time, Mr. Bookout? Or is that every year?
The annual payment for the software, if we go that route, is that the annual payment. Obviously, the device is lifetime of probably 3 to 5 years, maybe more.
So that would include the
Right. Yes, that would be.
Yeah, the final number that we'll present to you at the next council meeting will be for the cost of tablets and the software and program, and then the program only is the one that continues on, Councilmember Norris. So there's an annual fee associated with that.
Okay, thank you.
Councilmember Hine, did you have a question?
No, okay.
I have a follow-up.
What's the annual fee?
When we looked at it several years ago, it was between 10 and 12,000 a year.
Okay. Councilmember Patel.
Yeah, and a follow-up. The reason I brought it up because in your proposed long-term capital improvements, that you can save us money from talking to the city clerk. It was proposed to wait 3 years to start saving money, so it'd be nice if we could start saving the money. You know, they're coming in this starts January, so it's nice if you can even say the payoff. But I know Karen brought up that it might save her half a day every time she has to prepare budgets and stuff. So I think that's going to pay for itself in a very short amount of time. Thank you.
Further comments or questions from council? All right, very good. Thank you.
Thank you.
Is there anyone here that wishes to speak in favor or wishes to comment, excuse me, on the proposed budget for the city of Bridgeton for fiscal year 2023, which begins January 1 and runs through December 31st, 2023? Anyone wish to care to comment upon it? Okay, seeing none, I will close the public hearing on the proposed 2023 budget. We will now take up Missouri Bottom Road redevelopment as amended. And I think, John, you were going to start us out.
I think I was going to.
You're going to open it?
Open the hearing. In connection with the consideration of Bill 6348 later this evening, we call to order the public hearing pursuant to Chapter 353 of the Missouri Revised Statutes and Chapter 145 of the City Code to consider the proposed amended development plan for the 13930 Missouri Bottom Road redevelopment area. All affected political subdivisions have been invited to submit written comments and to appear and provide comments. Madam Clerk, have we received any written comments?
We have not.
Thank you. Do we have present any representatives of the affected political subdivisions or members of the public who wish to provide comments? Hearing none, the public hearing to consider the proposed amended development plan for the 13930 Missouri Bottom Road redevelopment area is now closed.
Okay. All right, we will move on to Hilltop Plaza redevelopment area tips. I thank our finance officer, Christine Bodas. Go ahead. Very good.
This is a Hilltop Plaza presentation. This public hearing is being held pursuant to the Real Property Tax Increment Allocation Redevelopment Act, also known as the TIP Act, to update the public on the progress of the Hilltop Plaza redevelopment project. The purpose of the hearing is to determine if satisfactory progress has been made under the proposed funding schedule for this project contained in the redevelopment plan. The Hilltop Plaza redevelopment area was approved by the city on July 5, 2006. The area includes approximately 16 acres known as Hilltop Plaza and is generally bordered by Interstate 70 to the south and St. Charles Rock Road to the north. The project envisioned by the redevelopment plan included the reconstruction of a portion of the Hilltop Plaza shopping center. The anchor retailer for the redevelopment project was the new Lowe's Home Improvement Store, which opened for business on June 12, 2007, but ceased operations in the first quarter of 2019 due to a corporate decision to reduce stores nationwide. Currently, there are only 2 retailers operating in the redevelopment area. PetSmart, which relocated from another location within Hilltop Plaza, and reopened in a new building on April 21st, 2007. In an RV fast food restaurant located on an outlot in the center. The redevelopment area does not include any other outlots or those portions of Hilltop Plaza where the former Sports Authority, Kmart, and Computer City were located. In 2007, the city issued its tax increment revenue bond, Hilltop Plaza Redevelopment Area, Series 2007, in the aggregate principal amount of $7,125,000 to provide long-term financing for the redevelopment project. A portion of incremental tax revenues generated in the redevelopment area are being used to pay bonds. With the downturn in the national economy in 2009, revenues generated by the redevelopment project were no longer meeting projections. In 2010, the city approved a redevelopment project for the Rock Road redevelopment area, including a new Walmart supercenter adjacent to the Hilltop Plaza, in hopes that it would spur additional development within Hilltop Plaza. In addition, the city and the Hilltop Community Improvement District, whose boundaries overlap the Hilltop Plaza redevelopment area, each agreed to contribute $75,000 annually to the payment of the Series 2007 bond. However, since Lowe's ceased operations in 2019, there have been insufficient funds to make the full semi-annual interest payments due on the Series 2007 bond. Monies transferred from the Debt Service Reserve Fund for the Series 2007 bond have supplemented the last 7 semi-annual interest payments. The Debt Service Reserve Fund requirement is $598,500. The current balance in the Debt Service Reserve Fund is $189,886. No principal payments have been made on the Series 2007 bond since May 1st, 2019. The current principal balance for the Series 2007 bond is $5,810,000. The redevelopment plan provided that the estimated date for completion of the implementation of the plan and the project would be on or before July 4th, 2029, 23 years from the adoption of the redevelopment plan. Although the redevelopment project was constructed in accordance with the plan, unless additional retailers open in the center, the Series 2007 bonds are not likely to be paid by July 4th, 2029. Any obligations not paid by July 4th, 2029 will be canceled. The city will not have any financial liability with respect to the Series 2007 bonds if they are canceled due to non-payment.
Very good. Any comments, questions, excuse me, from council? Saying none, is there anyone here that wishes to comment either favorably or unfavorably on this proposed Hilltop, or it's not proposed, on the Hilltop Plaza redevelopment area tip? Seeing none,
I got it.
we will, Councilmember Patel.
Yes, so who actually is then responsible to pay these? You said the city wasn't, but do we know who's responsible to pay the debt on these?
The debt will not be repaid.
Okay, so, not by the city, but
Yeah.
the bondholders
should be out.
holding the bag? Okay, just wondering. Thank you.
Councilmember Hine?
Is this, public hearing something we do every year regarding this?
It's required by the state every 5 years.
Every 5, okay.
Right.
So we did it 5 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
You weren't here then, I guess. Okay.
Last time in 2007.
I don't remember doing that. Okay, thank you.
Any further comments or questions? All right, we will close this public hearing and move on to the St. Charles Rock Road redevelopment tip. Ms. Phillips. Yeah, you have to give us your name and...
Christine Meredith, 12355.
There you go. Thank you.
Okay, this is the St. Charles Rock Road presentation. This public hearing is being held pursuant to the Real Property Tax Increment Allocation Redevelopment Act, also known as the TIP Act, in order to update the public on the progress of the St. Charles Rock Road redevelopment project. The purpose of the hearing is to determine if satisfactory progress has been made under the proposed time schedule contained within the redevelopment plan for this project. The St. Charles Rock Road redevelopment area was approved by the city on July 7, 2010. The area includes approximately 15 acres, generally bordered by Interstate 70 to the south and St. Charles Rock Road and Paul Mayer Avenue to the north. The project envisioned by the redevelopment plan included the relocation of the former Walmart located at 10817 St. Charles Rock Road, which was approximately 1.5 miles east of the redevelopment area. The former Walmart store was constructed in 1991 and it operated successfully for more than 20 years in this trade area. Walmart wanted to expand the store to a supercenter, but the site would not accommodate the expansion. The redevelopment project provided an opportunity $25.5 million. Also within the redevelopment area are a two-story office building and related parking. In 2012, the Industrial Development Authority of the City of Bridgeton, Missouri, issued its tax increment refunding revenue bond, Series 2012, St. Charles Rock Road redevelopment project, in aggregate principal amount of $6 million to provide long-term financing for this project. A portion of incremental tax revenues created by the project are being used to pay down this debt. The current principal balance for the Series 2012 bond is $1,385,000. The redevelopment plan provided that the estimated date for completion of the implementation of the plan and the project would be on or before July 6, 2033. The project is expected to be complete on or before that date. Any debt not paid by July 6, 2033 will be canceled.
Very good. Comments, questions from council? Seeing none, does anyone wish to comment on the St. Charles Rock Road redevelopment tip? Seeing no hands, we'll close this public hearing. Thank you, Ms. Soda. We will move on to the agenda, the rest of the agenda tonight. We are down to item J on permits and waivers. We have a sign variance request. Councilmember Grimmer.
Yes, move for approval of a sign variance request, application number 22-033, Max and Moose, 11726 St. Charles Rock Road.
Second. Motion's made by Councilmember Grimmer, seconded by Councilmember Patel for a sign variance for Max and Moose at 11726 St. Charles Rock Road. Would you care to elaborate, Councilmember Grimmer?
Yes, here I think this is a perfect example of where a variance is justified. What we have here is a business that has 60 foot of frontage, but the valance where the sign would go is only 10 foot 5 inches, and the reason being is that the business is located in a corner of an L-shaped building. And so what they've got is the area, they're only asking for a 7 foot wide sign, but it's in a 10 foot 5 valance. that would still give it 21 inches on either side. It's professionally done, and I think that, again, it's a perfect example. A business has to, people have to know where the business is. They have to identify themselves, and signage is the way they do that. And I think this is a very reasonable request based on what I can see what they're asking for. So again, I would much be in favor of the approval of this variance.
Very good. Comments, questions from council? Councilmember Hines.
I was gonna say I'm the ex officio for design review.
Oh, you should handle it.
But that's all right. I'm in agreement with it. Can I say a couple things?
Sure.
I know they requested, they were allowed 8 square feet, they requested up to 13 square feet, so I think, like Mr. Grimmer said, with the location in the corner there, it's not, there's not very much visibility, so they need as much exposure as they can get, so I'm in favor of it, and I ask council to vote along with Mr. Grimmer in favor of this.
Very good. Thank you, Councilmember. Councilmember Norris.
I just was questioning, Chris, what happened to Max Lou? So is that not the name of the, they just went Thrift as the name?
Oh, you mean on the sign there, why they don't have the full sign?
I think they're using that as an example of the sign.
Oh,
That's
okay.
Yeah.
Because normally in a presentation, they put the name up
Right,
there.
exactly.
So when I saw that, I went, well, isn't that a new name? So, all right, thank you very much.
Very good. Further comments or questions from council? Seeing none, the clerk will call the roll.
Councilmember Zimmer,
Aye.
Councilmember Grimmer,
Aye.
Councilmember Patel. Aye. Councilmember Hines.
Aye.
Councilmember Luke.
Aye.
Councilmember Norris.
Aye.
Councilmember Hood.
Aye.
Councilmember Patel.
Aye.
By your vote of 8-0, you've approved a sign variance for Max and Moves at 11726 St. Charles Rock Road. We are on to perfection of bills. Bill number 6344. This one goes to Councilmember Grimmer.
All right, very well. Move for final reading of bill number 6344.
Second.
Yeah, it's been read twice, so all we really need to do is go to the ordinance. So you move to, for
Okay.
Bill 6344 to become ordinance
Okay.
22-45.
Move that bill number 6344 becomes ordinance number
22-45.
22-45.
Second.
Motion's made by Councilmember Grimmer, seconded by Councilmember Patel for Bill 6344 to become ordinance 22-45. Questions, comments? Councilmember Grimmer?
All right, very well. Do I have to read the ordinance again? No. All right.
No.
All right. I'm in favor of this. It's a rezoning. Actually, there's 2 phases to this project going forward. The first is rezoning. Our staff has recommended rezoning from a B2 to a B5 planned commercial district. Basically, what we're looking here is the construction of an extended stay facility, and I see the chief strength of this as an enhancement to DePaul Hospital. For whatever reason, over the last couple of years, we've all seen that there's a trend for traveling nurses and doctors, medical personnel to do short-term or extended duties at these particular hospitals. The ability for these people, these professionals, to stay at a close-in facility to the hospital, back close enough that they can literally walk to the hospital from the facility, I think greatly enhances the operations, or has the potential to enhance the operation and the desirability of DePaul Hospital to attract the best talent that they can. I noted in the presentation that several other hospitals in the area have facilities that are very close. Right now, the recommendation if these folks do come in and work is they have to go to locations in an adjoining community, which probably is not as convenient as maybe they would like it to be. I think these developers have submitted plans where they've done these types of development, similar to before. I think the quality is there, and therefore I think overall it's a good proposal. And additional, as I said, this is a two-step process. We as a council, we get to take another look at it again closely on the plan because it does require a special use permit. So step one would be the rezoning, because of, again, the enhancement, I think, to DePaul Hospital, I am going to favor this. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilmember North.
I am just a little confused. I don't know of any of the hospitals. I'm just using an example of St. Louis County, Mercy, Missouri Baptist. I don't know of any hotel that hotels are on their campus. They have to go 1.4, 3.4. Again, recommendation by DePaul to go into Maryland Heights. I was a little confused by that list because we have some quality hotels that are in the same distance from DePaul. So I just was a little confused why DePaul, and if the need was from DePaul, I have not heard from DePaul, so I wish they had made a presentation of this need. That's all.
Very good. Councilmember Patel.
Yes, thank you, Mayor. I'm currently in favor of this, but I have some questions. I know previously when we voted for a zoning change, and if we didn't follow up with passing eventually with a vote that was positive, we were told that we could pass some kind of lawsuit against it. But what if we don't like the drawings and stuff like this? Question kind of comes, I guess, to Dave Lindenbroker as far as, this was brought up on some previous subdivisions on Fifi Road. That okay, we didn't vote for this, and then we can't vote against something down the road. That it might be looked at that way. Hey, you drug it out, and now we can't. So what's your input on how that happens? Or what the repercussions if we would pass this now, but then we wouldn't pass it down the road. Sorry.
Chair, recognize the city attorney.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor. So I think what you're referencing is, so this is a requested zoning change. The city council has quite a lot of latitude with respect to decisions on zoning. If it's consistent generally with the comprehensive plan and you approve or deny zoning, it's, generally, unless your decision was arbitrary or capricious, it's very difficult to overturn a zoning decision that somebody disagrees with. I think what you're referencing is what this zoning change would do was it would allow certain uses with special use permits. And so the applicant who has proposed the zoning change is, it sounds like, contemplating the construction of one of the uses that would require a special use permit. So they'd have to come back through the process, back through planning and zoning, and ultimately get back in front of the city council with respect to a requested special use permit that would deal more specifically with their proposed use. And there'd be a site plan, and it would, you could put conditions on along hours of operation and any number of things. The issue with that is that's an administrative proceeding as opposed to this legislative proceeding that is a zoning change, and there are prescribed conditions that you have to consider when you're deciding whether or not to approve a special use permit. We'll have a hearing, and you'll have to make your decision on the special use permit based upon the evidence that's presented in the record at that hearing. And so once you go through this step, it's not that you don't have any discretion to decide to deny a special use permit when the applicant comes back. It's just going to be a different set of criteria that deal more specifically with their proposed use when you get to that point. It's different than, I think the other thing that maybe is that I'm hearing in your question is this is different than a subdivision change where if they comply with the subdivision ordinance, there's no discretion at all city council has. You have to approve the subdivision application if it complies with the ordinance. So this is you're not disposing of your ability to deny the special use permit. If you approve this, it'll just change the criteria on which that's considered.
All right. I understand. Thank you.
Very good. Further comments or questions? Councilmember Hines.
Mr. Graves, can you recap what type of businesses are allowable there now under the current zoning? Sorry.
Did you hear his question?
I'll defer to, if it's all right with Mr. Mayor.
We'll recognize you, Mr. Graves.
To rephrase, so you're requesting what business is permitted in the current zoning compared to what's proposed?
Correct.
Okay. So the current zoning is the B2 community business district. That's the zoning district that's pretty prominent along St. Charles Rock Road and Lindbergh Boulevard. It includes a mix of retail uses, office uses, restaurant uses, service uses permitted by right. There's a wide variety of special uses ranging from, I think, liquor store, auto mechanic, auto service. They're both pretty extensive lists. So that's the current zoning. The proposed zoning district of B5, and as I mentioned when we held the public hearing, just to remind everybody, B5 are site-specific, planned commercial district. So there's a new ordinance, a new set of regulations that is attached specifically to the parcel or parcels that are being requested to be rezoned. This proposed zoning district would include office that's permitted by right, office uses, financial institutions, health, fitness center, art gallery or studio, retail, drugstore, medical office, medical clinic, food catering establishment, restaurant, church, public park, accessory uses, and then permitted land uses with special use permits include lodging establishment, extended stay lodging establishment, animal hospital or kennel, veterinary clinic, auditorium, arena, gymnasium, other similar recreational facilities. So a lot of many of the uses that are proposed in this B5 district are also permitted in the B2 district. However, there is the addition of lodging establishments and extended stay lodging establishments, which was the reason that the applicants requested the B5 district.
Thank you.
Very good. Further comments or questions from council? Seeing none, the clerk will call the roll, and this is for Bill 6344 to become ordinance 22-45.
Councilmember Grimmer?
Aye.
Councilmember Patel?
Aye.
Councilmember Hines?
Nay.
Councilmember Luke?
Aye.
Councilmember Norris?
Nay.
Councilmember Hood?
Aye.
Councilmember Patel?
Aye. Got one more.
By your vote of 6-2, you have approved.
Oh, Zimmer. I'm sorry. Zimmer.
Nay.
So by your vote of 5-3, you've approved Bill 6344 to become ordinance 22-45. We are down to Bill 6348. Councilmember Hines.
Thank you, Mayor. Move for second reading of bill number 6348.
Second.
Motion's made and seconded. Motion made by Councilmember Hines, seconded by Councilmember Luke for the second reading of Bill 6348. Those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstaining? Thank you, Councilmember. Councilmember Hines.
An ordinance of the City Council of the City of Bridgeton, Missouri, approving the amended development plan for the 13930 Missouri Bottom Road redevelopment area, authorizing tax abatement for Phase 2 property within the area, authorizing the execution of the first supplement to development agreement by and among the city, Davidson Realty LLC, Davidson Realty 5 LLC, and Missouri Bottom Redevelopment Corporation, and directing and authorizing city officials to take certain actions related to the same. I'd like to move the bill number 6348 become ordinance 22-46.
Second.
Motion's made by Councilmember Hines, seconded by Councilmember Luke for Bill 6348 to become ordinance 22-46. Councilmember Hines, I believe we have an amendment that would have to be adopted on this. So I think you all should have at your place one that kind of looks like this with blue underlining. Everybody have that?
He's the one who should introduce it.
You have a copy,
He read it.
Councilmember?
He should introduce the amendment.
Okay, at this time, I'd like to make a motion for the amended pages 4, 10, 12, 15, presented to us this evening.
I think we got 12, too. Did you say 12?
4, 10, 12, and 15.
Very good.
Second.
Motion's made by Councilmember Hines, seconded by Councilmember Luke to amend proposed bill by changing pages 4, 10, 12, and 15. Councilmember Hines, would you like the council to, the city attorney, to explain this one a little bit to us on the amendment?
Yes, please, Mr. Lundbroker, if you would. Thank you.
Certainly, thank you. There's really one substantive change to this, and I'm going to ask my partner, John Jokas, to come just sort of summarize that for you.
John? Sorry, I called the wrong one this time. Good evening.
John Jokas from my platform, thank you all for you again. The changes that in front of you, Council Stevens, was very technical, which is just to allow the redeveloper to accommodate a 1031 lifetime exchange, which in any developer's view,
You all here? I think you got to pick up the mic. I don't know what happened to our other mic, so.
Pick it up.
Not really.
That,
Not
I
going on.
can talk about it too, I'm sorry.
yeah, you might have to.
John Jokas, my platform. Changes that are before you are twofold. The first, very technical, which is just to allow the redeveloper, agent realty and affiliates to assign their rights to an entity formed to accommodate Section 1031 lifetime exchange under the internal revenue. Very common procedure in real estate tax planning. The second change is a result of the current status of the tax bill for the year 2022. As you all are perhaps recall, our tax statements are based on October, the base year, the year was approved. The current base year is taxes are under appeal with state and county. That process can sometimes take 2 years, 3 years to resolve itself. So what we've done is accommodate the 2021 tax year, which is the number that we always assume is part of all the other materials before you, plus $75,000 that we paid the development tax industry. It's the lesser of that amount or the 2022 amount as it's resolved. Any questions?
Questions of John? Councilmember Hines?
What's the base 2021 amount?
The base 2021 amount is $300 in tax. Because the land is set tax also.
$300.
Yes, sir. That's roughly, 300.
I have a question. Was this parcel purchased at the same time as the original parcel?
I don't know the answer to that question. We do have representatives of the developer here with us this evening and their counsel.
You want to suspend rules to ask him?
I'd like to make a motion to suspend council rules to ask the developer questions.
Second.
Motion's made by Councilmember Hines, seconded by Councilmember Luke to suspend council rules to now allow the developer or the petitioner to come forward to answer a few questions. Those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstaining? Motion carries. Rob, you or Bill want to come up? One of the two?
Good evening, Mayor and Council. My name is Robert Farr with Armstrong Teasdale, 7700 Forsyth Boulevard, Suite 1800.
Thank you.
Mr. Fritz is also here with me. It's easy, CFO for Bridgeton Realty. He informed me that the parcels were all acquired at the same time. There are 2 parcels on the third bottom, one to the existing manufacturing facility, and the other parcels that were discussed.
Okay. So the original tax abatement did not include this parcel?
The original development plan included the entire area. We did not specify what, if any, abatement there would be for this parcel, which
final fact today.
Mhm.
It identifies the current parcel as future development without specifying
Okay.
what level of abatement, if any, would be granted on that future parcel. I would surmise I was not involved in the project initially, but I would surmise because it was not clear exactly what that development would be on that adjacent parcel. At the time that the original plan was approved, the existing building was what was contemplated on the adjacent parcel.
So it continued as, being taxed as agriculture from when it was originally
It
purchased.
has been vacant ground since it was originally purchased, and I can't confirm specifically, Mr. Fritz would probably tell us specifically that it's always been classified as agricultural land, but certainly in 2021 it was classified.
Okay. All right, that's all I have.
Good. Other comments of the petitioner? Okay. Thank you, Rob. All right. Other comments to John from council? Okay, seeing none. The clerk will call the roll on the amendment. That's what we're voting on right now, is just the amendment to Bill 6348.
Councilmember Patel.
Aye.
Councilmember Hines.
Aye.
Councilmember Luce.
Aye.
Councilmember Norris.
Aye.
Councilmember Hood.
Aye.
Councilmember Patel.
Aye.
Councilmember Zimmer.
Aye.
Councilmember Grimmer.
Aye. By your vote of 8-0, you've approved the amending Bill 6348 by changing pages 4, 10, 12, and 15. We're now back to the original motion on as amended. Councilmember Hine, anything else?
No, do I need to restate the ordinance?
No.
Okay, thank you.
Further comments or questions? So now we're voting on the final adoption of Bill 6348 to become ordinance 22-46. The clerk will call the roll.
Councilmember Hines.
Aye.
Councilmember Luce.
Aye.
Councilmember Norris.
Aye.
Councilmember Hood.
Aye.
Councilmember Patel.
Aye.
Councilmember Zimmer.
Aye.
Councilmember Grimmer.
Aye.
Councilmember Patel.
Aye.
By your vote of 8-0, you've approved amended Bill 6348 to become ordinance 22-46. Consideration of new bills. Bill 6351, Councilmember Norris.
Yes, sir. Move for first reading of bill number 6351.
Motion's made by Councilmember Norris, seconded by Councilmember Hood for the first reading of Bill 6351. Councilmember Norris. Oh, those in favor, I'm sorry. Those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstaining, motion carries. Councilmember Norris.
An ordinance of the City Council of the City of Bridgeton, Missouri, authorizing the mayor and city clerk to execute an agreement substantially in the form attached here to with Tech Electronics Incorporated for the council chambers audio visual upgrade in the amount of $45,995. The project budget includes a contingency in the amount of $7,000. Move to suspend council rules for second reading.
Second.
Motion is made by Councilmember Norris, seconded by Councilmember Hood to suspend council rules for the second reading of Bill 6351. Those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstaining, motion carries. Councilmember Norris.
$7,000. Move that bill number 6351 become ordinance
-47.
2247.
Motion is made by Councilmember Norris, seconded by Councilmember Hood for Bill 6351 to become ordinance 22-47. Councilmember Norris.
Yes, the council has read from the department, the recommendation was made after reviewing the work completed by Tech Electronics for the city of Bridgeton. They have done work at the government center and the newly constructed recreation center. Tech Electronics recently completed the communication upgrade at the government center due to the outsourcing of police dispatch. the communication upgrade, including installing speaker boxes at all the government center entrances, which are connected to the police records office and St. Louis County Dispatch, and Tech Electronics also install and maintain the phone system and fire alarm system at both the government center and the rec center. So, and, you know, we have had complaints continually from our constituents that they could not hear and the recording. So, you know, this building has always had some problems with electronics and electrical. I guess you get what you pay for. So, hope this will solve the issue.
Very good. Comments or questions from council? Councilmember Chappelle.
Yes, thank you, Mayor. Mind you, I'm for this bill, but will this bill be compatible with the new pads that we're talking about in our new budget for next year? I mean, or do they have to come back and change some things if we get those little iPads that go, you know?
An iPad?
Yeah, will it still be compatible because we may not be using this up here in front? I mean, just saying compatible. If we're changing everything in the
screens here? This is just for the audio-visual stuff, for the recordings that we do.
Right.
And then for the meetings here. I don't know, I'm at a loss. I apologize how it connects to the iPad.
Well, I'm not sure if we're using those like for our agenda, and we're using it to read our agendas, you possibly hear like the Patmore School District does. There's not really a necessary for a screen after that then.
So that's what you're asking, whether or not we're going to have a screen.
Yeah.
I think we'll reassess that once we go ahead with the purchase of the iPad, because sometimes the iPad isn't as large a screen as you have in front of you, and some people like myself sometimes struggle with my eyesight to see everything.
Okay. All right.
Okay.
Just bring that up. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilmember Grimmer.
Yes, just as an aside or a comment, I'm very happy to see the bid results. Tech Electronics, of course, was not the very, very lowest bidder, but they were very close. And when I see a situation like that, where the competition is that close, it just kind of strengthens my, I guess, approval or whatever, or faith in the bidding system. And I'm just very happy that we have that latitude to kind of move along and select maybe not the very lowest bid, but the best bid. In this case, though, the two top bids were very, very close, and I just like to see that occasionally. I just kind of know that the system is perfect along the way it should be. So thank you.
Very good. Further comments or questions? Seeing none, the clerk will call the roll.
Councilmember Luce.
Aye.
Councilmember Norris.
Aye.
Councilmember Hood.
Aye.
Councilmember Chappelle.
Aye.
Councilmember Zimmer.
Aye.
Councilmember Grimmer.
Aye.
Councilmember Patel.
Aye.
Councilmember Hines.
By your vote of 8-0, you've approved Bill 6351 to become Ordinance 22-47. On to Bill 6352, Councilmember Norris.
Thank you. Move for first reading of bill number 6352.
Second.
Motion made by Councilmember Norris, seconded by Councilmember Hood for the first reading of Bill 6352. Those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstaining? Motion carries. Councilmember Norris.
Thank you. An ordinance of the City Council of the City of Bridgeton, Missouri, adopting a budget for the 12-month period commencing January 1st, 2023, and ending December 31st, 2023, in the amount of $27,970,792 for all funds, with operational expenditures of $21,017,285, debt service expenditures of $2,340,940, and capital improvement and tax increment financing expenditures of $4,612,567. Move to table.
Second.
Motion's made by Councilmember Norris, seconded by Councilmember Hood to table Bill 6352. Those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstaining? Motion carries. Councilmember Norris, Bill 6353.
Thank you. Move for first reading of bill number 6353.
Second.
Motion's made by Councilmember Norris, seconded by Councilmember Hood for the first reading of Bill 6353. Those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Abstaining? Motion carries. Councilmember Norris.
Thank you. An ordinance repealing ordinance 21-39 and adopting a new ordinance fixing the salaries of certain special service and salaried employees as denoted in the city charter for fiscal year 2023, Move to table.
Second.
Motion's made by Councilmember Norris, seconded by Councilmember Hood, to table Bill 6353. Those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstaining? Motion carries. Bill 6354, also Councilmember Norris.
Thank you. Move for first reading of bill number 6354.
Motion's made by Councilmember Norris, seconded by Councilmember Hood for the first reading of Bill 6354. Those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Abstaining? Motion carries. Councilmember Norris.
Thank you. An ordinance of the City Council of the City of Bridgeton, Missouri, repealing ordinance number 22-06 and adopting a new ordinance fixing the salaries and other compensation of the classified employees of the city as provided for in Section 8.04 of the Charter and Section 115 of the Code of the City of Bridgeton, Missouri for the fiscal year 2023. Move to table.
Motion's been made by Councilmember Norris, seconded by Councilmember Hood for tabling of Bill 6354. Those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstaining? Motion carries. We are down to the attorney's report, and I believe he has one.
Yes, thank you, Mayor. And I apologize, I can't remember who asked, but someone asked at the last meeting about the possibility of a sales tax on the non-medical marijuana. Mr. Grimmer, thank you. So I wanted to get back to the council on that. Under the new constitutional amendment, the cities are authorized to approve by ordinance an additional sales tax not to exceed 3% on all tangible personal property retail sales of adult use marijuana sold within, in this case, the city of Bridgeton. In order to, that would be in addition to any other sales taxes imposed on the sale of adult use marijuana. In order to do that, the city would need to submit a measure to the voters. That could be done at any general, primary, or special election in the city. So without a special election, I think the next opportunity would be April. So if the council were to wish to pursue that, we would need to have an ordinance passed setting forth the ballot language.
Correct. Councilmember Grimmer.
I would make a motion to proceed with developing that ordinance. I don't think 3% is going to materially affect the sales. I would assume the next, I don't know what the next retail facility would be, St. Charles probably, but I don't think 3%. I think it's an additional revenue stream that certainly we could use. I don't want the city to pass up this opportunity.
Second.
Okay, so yours is a motion.
Mine is a motion too.
Motion made, seconded by Councilmember Hine, that we prepare an ordinance to call for a ballot proposition to impose the tax, and do you want it at 3%?
Well, the only question I had, and I think I started to bring that up, is I don't know how we could look at that. Maybe we ought to look across the river. I don't think 3% would have a material effect on a buyer, whether or not he would go across the river, because maybe there's a little lower tax over there or what. I don't know.
But we don't know. The issue that we have, we don't have anybody right now selling in the city of Bridgeton. There's one under construction, which I don't believe, Chief, they haven't opened up yet, though, have they? So.
But as I understand, the medicinal suppliers are going to have they're first in line to become recreational sellers also. And
that's correct.
I see these folks putting a lot of money into this facility we have on the Rock Road here, and I can't imagine them not paying for that recreational license.
Okay, so your motion is, and seconded by Councilmember Hine, and we'll get to the others, is to prepare a ballot ordinance, but what do you say? Do you want the amount to be 3%? Or do you want to hold on that until we get the ordinance ready and then you can decide?
let's do that. I would prefer maybe if we research that a little bit, and this is all uncharted new territory, I guess.
That's correct.
And I can't imagine 3% would deter somebody from buying in Bridgeton to go to another location. But I think we maybe, just out of caution, ought to look around and see what the retail climate might be.
Okay.
Just so we kind of know, so we don't go ahead and put ourselves in a place where we put ourselves out of the market or at a market disadvantage for any reason.
Okay, let me ask the city attorney, is that enough to give you?
Yeah, and we can put a blank in the ordinance for the percentage.
Okay. All right. So we have a motion and a second. Comments or questions? Councilmember Sapel.
Yes, I'm in favor of putting a tax on it, first of all. I mean, so I'm glad it's coming up. Maybe up to 3%. I'm glad you're just letting it be blank, because that was kind of my question. On top of that, it's probably going to be a state tax and a county tax. Wouldn't you agree? I mean, that's kind of what I'm thinking. And then the 3, I think we should look at matching what our current sales tax is, whatever that number totally is. And I mean, maybe this isn't a...
I think, Councilmember, you have to realize, we get the current tax, whatever, you know, this is on top of the current taxes they would pay.
So instead of our 9.9 tax, it might be an additional 3%, so it might be 12. I mean, that's the thing I wanted to get the details from, and that, you know, that comes to us, and then we can choose a number.
Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
You add it to whatever the current sales tax is in the city.
Okay, so it's like going to the city of St. Louis and having the extra taxes that they add for a motel and all this kind of stuff. Okay.
Correct.
All right. So if we leave it blank and we can get some more information between now and then, that'd be great. Thank you.
Correct. If you do nothing, if we don't put anything on the ballot, we still get whatever the sales tax that's currently collected in the city on any sales.
So we don't have to create a sales tax to still get the current sales tax that we currently generate.
That's correct.
That's correct.
Okay. All right.
Councilmember Hine?
Yes, I don't know how can we compare us to other municipalities? There's no...
Nobody is doing retail sales for recreational yet.
But my second thought is I don't think the recreational users are going to be worried about sales tax. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilmember Norris?
That's exactly what I was going to say. Let's hit it. You know, I mean, I wasn't really comfortable with it, but we missed out on the vote, so let's not miss out on this opportunity. So, I said, again, I don't think someone with, that wants it, they're going to spend whatever, unfortunately. But Dave, it won't go into effect till 2024, is that? I mean.
So I don't see that in the Constitution.
Okay. I thought there was something I saw.
Yeah, I know that came up at the last meeting, but I'm not seeing that anymore.
Oh, okay. So immediately when they can.
We'll look into it further as we prepare the ordinance, but I'm not seeing where that's coming from.
Oh, okay. I thought there was kind of a in-between before the people that were getting the licenses were getting their money first, and then kind of have a breather in between the taxing. But whatever, I can go for the maximum, and, that's what we need to do. So, thank you.
Councilmember Hood?
One of the marketing strategies when they got this approved was it'll be well regulated and taxed. So I think we should take full advantage of that.
That's correct. Well put. Further comments or questions? So the motion on the table, or on the floor here, is to ask the city attorney to prepare an ordinance to place on the ballot April 4th, 2023, a measure to levy a tax on the sale of recreational marijuana in the city of Bridgeton. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Everybody understand? All right. Those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Abstaining? Motion carries. The city attorney will prepare a draft, and we will have to have that. You have to notify the county election board by the 3rd week of January, is it, Karen? 4th week of January. So you'll have 3 cracks at it, I guess. One more meeting in December, and the 2 in January. Okay. Anything else, Council?
No, sir. Thank you.
All right, Council Communications. We'll start with Councilmember Gurman.
Yes, I'd just like to say how nice the wreath, the Christmas wreath looks on City Hall. I don't know if you saw that coming in with the lights and all that. I think that's very, very alluring to the city, and that's the first year that's been up? I think that's second year? Yeah. It just looks nice. I was very impressed coming in. It gave me a warm, fuzzy feeling about Christmas or whatever. Thank you, staff.
Very good. Councilmember Patel.
Thank you, Mayor. Warm and fuzzy. Okay. I just have a comment. The mayor and I about 2 weeks ago attended an event at UMSL. It was in conjunction with the temple that's next door to City Hall, which is Baptist, the temple. It's a Hindu temple. They were just very grateful for a presence from the mayor, and they were very honored to be a part of Bridgeton, and they're also very open to any charitable things that might come up in order to help the city. They're a charitable organization. It was a pretty big event, and they were just grateful to be in Bridgeton, and they wanted everyone to know that, and they were very glad that the mayor decided to take some time because it was a very lengthy event, and so they were just really, really happy to see a presence from the city of Bridgeton. So that's all I have.
Thank you. I was very pleased that Councilmember Patel also joined me in that. So thank you very much. Councilmember Patel.
Yes, thank you. I'll keep it short, but we haven't talked yet about the charter stuff that's going to go on the agenda, on the ballot too. So maybe you can address that. So that's all. I'm just bringing that up. So we didn't have it on tonight. I thought we have a long meeting tonight with that starting, but we didn't. But thank you.
Councilmember Zimmer.
Yeah, just real quick. Seems like the podium's gotten worse in the last month or so. I can't hear anything.
I think part of the problem, and I don't know where it is, but they used to have microphones like this.
Yeah.
And did that break? Do you know, Mr. Peterson?
I'm not sure. I do know Monday that was up there, the cordless one, because I had to put batteries in it for Amy. So I'm not sure why the corded one was not up there.
These tend to work a little bit better for somebody up there because you don't have to bend over as much or else pick it up. But even when they picked it up, I noticed that they weren't amplified on the voice. We'll have to look into that.
Right. So that's useless. You might as well have them just yell to the universe here. Okay, and then the second thing, I was just wondering if anybody knew what was going on at a Friends restaurant, the old Friends restaurant, just some kind of update on, looks like they're working there, or and it stopped, or does anybody know what's going on?
Let Mr. Peterson check into that for us and maybe report if he's got an answer for us.
Great, thank you. That's all I have. Thanks.
Councilmember Hood.
Mayor, I have nothing to see.
Very good, thank you. Councilmember Norris will take your place on that, I'm sure.
Thank you, Mayor. You want me to begin? How many pages, how long do I have? I could go into another situation, but I won't. December the 7th. I hope y'all remembered this date. December 7th, 1941, Pearl Harbor attack. May all they rest in peace, and God bless America. So it's something that will live forever. I hope, everyone that is survivors are getting fewer and fewer, so we must never forget. Also, I didn't get a chance. Joe, he is a kind and generous employee, going above and beyond rescuing that sweet dog. And I do think Mrs. Lapia also to adopt the dog. And I am sorry, Dr. Chip, as she is called, she goes above and beyond. I do have a couple personal friends that have her as a vet, and on a tragic situation when you have the dog and you have to make that decision to put the dog down, she came to the house so the dog would not be frightened, and so I thought that was going above and beyond. And also she does night, another dog was ill. She has a meter at the office and is giving the dog intravenous and watches the dog. So this is a person I wish, we could have, and I'm glad she's in the area. So if you have an opportunity, I guess the best way to take her back also is take your animal there. And also welcome to Officer Mike. I'm really glad he's part of our Bridgeton family. And again, I asked Chief Masadi, do we have a car big enough for him to drive? And he said there was no problem. They just take the front seat out and you try to turn the fan. So, anyway, but I'm real glad to have it into our family. So, Chief, if you could make that report, how many more can we handle on the police? And I am glad Bamboo LLC met a promise, demolishing that Capitol Inn. And I hope its second phase is a successful partnership with the new warehouse facility. And I just have a question. I was reading our report that we get from the building division. What is racking at Target? If you could make a report that, I just am curious. Requiring mine. And how is the police substation at the rec center? Are we having scheduled? Are they scheduled there, or do they just come and go? And also, I just was wondering. We discussed a little bit the last time. Will council have any input in the ARP money decision? And also, thank you to staff and administration for all your hard work making Bridgeton a special place for our residents.
Thank you,
I'm
Councilmember.
finished.
We appreciate it. Councilmember Luke.
Thank you, Mayor. If you could, I'd like an update on the next stormwater project status, where we stand with that, what's been done, what's the next step, and timeline, for example. Also, Mr. Bookout, a month ago, I had asked some constituent questions from our last ward meeting, and you said that you would follow up. Can we schedule some time to do that soon, so that at the January ward meeting we have a response for all of our questions? And then finally, sitting in the front row is Kathy Luther. I'd like for you all to give her a warm welcome, introduce yourself, and learn a little more about her, because I hope that you will be working with her soon. That's all. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilmember Hines.
Thank you, Mayor. So Mrs. Norris asked about Finridge out there, and it's interesting. Last night, they came before design review with their plans for their building. Looks pretty nice. I'll be happy to pass this around if you want to take a look at it. They do propose a fence around 3/4 of the property. The front will be open. The fence will have the plastic slats and a 6-foot chain link fence. So as I was walking the streets Sunday with Mrs. Luke and Mrs. Luther, we ran into a constituent that let us know that he felt threatened going into the Walmart here in Bridgeton. We were sorry to hear that, and we asked, what the problem was, and he expressed that to us. He lives on my street, younger than me. He's in good shape. You would think that he wouldn't be the kind of guy that would be threatened, but he's advised his wife and children not to go in there. So I was kind of wondering if, Chief, if you could tell us a little bit about the security and safety at Walmart. Is that one of our biggest call producers for the police department? Do they have a safety security plan of their own? Are they employing off-duty police officers for security there? We would like that to be a friendly and inviting store. I know that's one of our biggest revenue producers here in the city, so anything that we can do to get Walmart, to get rid of the threats there would sure help. And I'm not sure that Bridgeton should put a whole lot more resources into it than what we're doing already, but if you can talk about that a little bit when it comes to your section, I'd be happy. Thank you.
Thank you.
I think that's all I have.
That's it?
Thank you.
Thank you. We'll go to Department reports. We'll start in Public Works. Mr. Peterson, substituting for Mr. Gunn tonight.
Sure. As far as the Friends Restaurant.
Talk into your mic a little hot. There you go.
As far as the Friends Restaurant, I will have to look into that. I'm not quite sure what the status of that is, quite honestly. And racking at Target, that's pretty much your shelves and your storage. That's your racking.
So it's inside. It's inside.
Yeah.
Okay. So I was shown a picture when I looked it up, and it was like it looked like it was an outside type So, okay, so it's inside. All right, thank you, appreciate it. I can check that off my to-know list.
Stormwater, the next project we're going to be doing.
That's pretty much, I guess, up to you guys what you want to direct us to.
The intent is to go forward up along National Bridge up here at Cindy Lay. To put in, we will have to come back and put a inlet in the one corner, which would be the southwest corner of the lot. Put in curbing on the asphalt lot to direct everything to that inlet so it drains, and then put a pipe from that inlet down into, and I don't know the individual resident, but there's a catch basin down about maybe 80 feet and tie into that. When I talked to Mr. Gunn about it, he said he thought our crews could do that. And I said, that's fine, I just want to make sure that they can. And of course, when you deal with asphalt, you don't want to work in the wintertime because asphalt is not set up right when it's cold temperatures. You could do the inlet though. So that, and we'd have to start with that part first. So that's the kind of project we're looking to do.
Timeline?
Hopefully, early part of next, you could do it in the wintertime on the piping. We'll have to wait until temperatures rise above a certain degree, so it's probably April before we could get to the asphalt. That would be the earliest. That work?
Thank you.
Okay. Anything else, Mr. Peters?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
All right. Councilmember Norris?
Yes, Mayor, would it be advantageous for us to pull in that committee and maybe Mr. Gunn could give us a report in regard to this, you know, what?
Stormwater?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, we should have but I'd probably do it at the first of the year, in January.
Okay, all right. I will get with him and see if we can set up a meeting and contact different boards. Thank you very much. I would like to see where we're at and what you were indicating. Yeah, asphalt is, I think, what, 50 degrees?
Yeah, roughly. You can't do anything with it until it hits that temperature.
Yeah, okay, because I didn't know now, will you have to go on private property with this
We
inlet?
would, and we'd have to get the concurrence of the property owner, which we'll have to open the discussions with.
Okay, all right. Okay, thank you.
Further comments or anything from Mr. Peterson? Mr. Kane? Parks and Rec.
The part of repair work is happening in Hellbush is going smooth so far. Hellbush, the gazebo is almost done. The only thing we're waiting on is the railing, the fence that goes along the gazebo along the lake. But the new posts are done, roof, soffit, the arches are all burned, all installed and painted, so it looks really nice. The Matthews restroom still has a bit of work to do. They did demo the old burned tile roof. And they've got the new trusses up, they've cleaned out the interior, and when they're done with the roof, they will still paint the interior, exterior, and do the electrical and plumbing. They've got a little bit more work to do there. The Feed the Masters food drive is done. That was the month of November. Bridgeton finished in 5th place out of 24 cities. That was our goal to be top 5. We collected 953 food items. And a total between all these 24 cities is 22,854. Pretty cool. And that was donated to the Ambulatory Food Bank. Okay.
And how did Breakfast with Santa Claus go this past weekend?
Really good. We had 50 people there, and I know there was a lot of employees and people that a lot of good stuff on social media about the event. Went really well.
Great. Chief? Or anybody have a question? Dan, go ahead.
Just a couple things. I put this booklet in everybody's mailbox. This is just an updated version of a resource directory. I know Council Member Norris had asked about getting an updated version that had been given out, I think, in 2015. So that's in your mailbox in the event that you have constituents that have questions about different resources and outreach and what have you for receiving help. So I put that in your mailboxes. With regards to the substation, It's basically a come and go. So that's an extension of our roll call room where they do report writing downstairs. We've got that connected up to a computer system. Officers throughout the day that are riding in that area, if they have reports to write, they can swing into that office and sit down and type out the reports, make phone calls and what have you. And they only do that during the rush hour hours. So it is come and go. Some days you may have them because they're busy. Other days they may be in and out of there all day. As far as staffing, we do have one conditional hire out right now that's waiting for a medical screen and a psychological screen. That'll bring our current strength up to 49 out of 51. So we still do have 2 current openings. We're still processing applications. We got, I think, 3 in background right now, and hopefully we'll be able to move forward with continuing to fill those slots. If I hadn't told you too, I'm also chairing a committee on the St. Louis Area Police Chiefs Association for recruitment to try to bring new officers in policing in the region to try to help, because this problem's across the board. All the police agencies are really suffering with staffing. As far as Joel, I appreciate what you recognize in him tonight. I have to tell you, he's one of the kindest human beings that I've come across. He is genuinely a nice man, and he does go above and beyond, and I really appreciate the city recognizing him. I do hear a lot from our counterparts. He's our employee. We contracted with Maryland Heights. My counterparts over in Maryland Heights are constantly calling and giving kudos to his performance out in the field and what he's doing. So I appreciate that, what you did tonight. I know it meant a lot to him and his family. Walmart, they do have off-duty police officers. They have a company. They're not Bridgeton officers, but they have a company that they contract with that has off-duty police officers in there frequently throughout the day. They also have security patrol and unarmed security on the site. I'll have to check on the security patrols. I know they were doing sweeps through the parking lot with their car that's got the yellow lights flashing on it. My understanding is they're still doing that, but they do have off-duty officers up there most of the time. Also, I think it's appropriate to mention this tonight with your resolution to move, or your motion to move forward on the marijuana tax. I have to tell you that with law enforcement in Missouri, there is going to be an expense that's going to be passed on to through law enforcement for various different things. So, when you're talking about this taxing of that facility, it's not just to get more money. There is going to be an expense to the city of Bridgeton and law enforcement with the implementation of that law. We're already talking about training programs for officers on being able to better detect people that are driving impaired or under the influence of marijuana. That is not something that you can do chemical testing on it, but it's a very, very broad range on the impairment of an individual based on the testing. So a lot of that comes down to field sobriety testing. So there's going to be some expenses that come along with getting officers trained on better field sobriety testing and other areas of substance abuse and increasing calls based on that. It's not really known. But I know when you're talking about a tax like that, there could be some expenses that are passed on to the city. Excuse me, that are passed on to the city through the police department for calls for service or usage of our employees to handle situations regarding that. So I appreciate you putting that forward. I think that's a good move. That's a personal opinion on moving forward with that. It's not just to tax something. It's actually, there is going to be some expense. I truly believe through public safety that comes on the back end of that law passing. That's all I have.
Very good. Mr. Bookout.
Yeah, a few items. There was mention of the ARPA funds. I know that the council has discussed the possibility of putting together a subcommittee, and I know I talked to the department heads and mentioned to them to be thinking about ideas that we could present to that subcommittee for the ARPA funds. So I can't remember who mentioned that, but staff is certainly ready and willing to participate with the subcommittee when that is discussed. Also, Councilmember Luke mentioned those items that we were getting back to. I'm working with staff. I'll contact you next week, both Councilmember Hine and Councilmember Luke on those items for you all. And also there is, I want to mention a State of Missouri cybersecurity grant that's being offered. I want to let you know that staff is working on that. And I know Councilmember Luke has forwarded that to the mayor and I think in the middle of November. So we do have staff working on that as well. That's all I have, Mayor. Thank you.
Councilmember Hines, you have a question?
Yes, at the last council meeting, I asked if somebody could review the escrow accounts and see if any money was eligible to be moved into general fund.
I know Robert and I had a brief conversation about it. I know that there's some long-term escrows that are still there. I know we haven't reviewed it to see. I think there was a threshold of, was it 10 years or 20 years that some drop off. I don't think much has changed, but we certainly discussed it, and I'll have Robert take a closer look at that.
We'll get your report next week at the very latest. I know Mr. Gunn's out all this week on a military assignment.
Okay, thank you.
All right, I have two quick items. It was mentioned by Councilmember Patel about the potential for changing the Bridgeton charter. The attorney has delivered, the attorney that worked with the Charter Review and Revision Commission has turned over copies of 4 ordinances for us to consider. We will get those out to you because the intent to put those on the December 21st agenda. And that way you can discuss, and then I would not propose doing it as introduce and adopt the same night, but it'll give you time. So that's in, and we'll get you copies of those because I know some of the residents are looking for that. And then the city clerk has asked, the Missouri Municipal League has its annual legislative conference, February 22nd and 23rd. It's in Jefferson City. I would ask that you contact Karen here maybe by the next meeting so we can make sure that we get accommodations for anybody that wishes to attend. With that, I have nothing else. Does anybody else have anything? Councilmember Hine? I thought you were going to make a motion. Motion for adjournment.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
Motion made by Councilmember Hine, seconded by Councilmember Luke to adjourn. Those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstaining? Motion carries. We are adjourned.